Hey, buddies, PotatoMcWhiskey here, and welcome to another Saving Your Disaster file. This one is sent in by Ambivalence. Hi, Potato. What a sad game. I had a portion of the continent to myself, natural defense by mountains, also had Pantanal and an insane Hansa to come, but it's all for nothing. I got my government plaza early, I settled fast, I got 8 cities total, got both Oracle and Mausoleum, relatively good ley lines, and an insane plus 16 industrial zone, everything I could have ever wanted, and it still wasn't enough. First save is from when I realised it's a little bit too late to be that far behind Arabia, and the next is from when Arabia declared war on me while I was preparing to attack, and shortly thereafter when I realised I can't do absolutely anything. Thoughts. So the only piece of thing missing from this is the fact that they don't actually have rise and fall. Now we don't need to have rise and fall in order to analyse a situation, and man, before I actually talk about the save file, I'm going to go through and just kind of do a quick overview of the situation. So like, we are pretty far behind scientifically. For turn 205, making 101 science per turn, that is nowhere near good enough. And part of the problem is just the fact that there are no scientific city-states on the map. Now, I can't tell if any scientific city-states have actually been murdered. That might change the analysis here. But definitely, on a map like this, you want to get caravels and you want to go explore. And I think you have a caravel here, but for some reason, you're not getting open borders with people. Now, I understand that Rome doesn't like you, but you should totally be getting open borders with people. You should be trying to explore their territory, trying to find city-states through the edge of their territory. Because if we can find even just one scientific city-state, it would significantly lift you out of this sort of scientific poverty that you're in. So that's kind of the general overview. So if you take it like a little bit of a look at the situation that you're in, it's bad. Arabia is much stronger than you, but they're the only person you have to worry about. So theoretically, you could kill them, right? But let's take a look at the next save file. So this is when the war is declared by Arabia. And this is the opening state of the war. Arabia is pushing with light infantry and vampires. Aleppo is relatively untakeable. However, the problem I think you had in this game is you kind of just tunnel visioned on Aleppo. There's 3 completely undefended cities here to the west that you could sneak around with these bombards and start pounding from this firing position here. In terms of technology, you're like about to be able to get flight. Why don't you just go flight into why did you get biplanes? Why don't you go this? Well, part of the problem is your science is so bad, right? So yeah, that's why you can't do that. Yeah, I don't know. You're just like, this is just, you've somehow, like, your science hasn't increased at all. You're still building this random campus in a city with no tile improvements. I don't know how you have I don't know how you got a fast 8 cities and none of them have tile improvements. You've also settled in a very strange pattern. I think some of these cities are okay, some of them are bad, but then it gets worse. I don't think we really need to load up this save file, but it's So from this first save file you sent me, a mere 26 turns passed, I think. Like, we're still, I mean, we're getting our science buildings, but man, these are so late. So late. You've done a good job exploring. You didn't get open borders with Greece. That's a mistake. Realistically, your best situation here is probably to just avoid a war with Arabia and like try to go around Aleppo and attack Halab. And rather than take the city, pillage it, and then, detonate it. Like, just completely erase it from the face of the planet. You don't need it. You're probably... I would have to guess that you're probably also failing to do trading to try and leverage this. So, right. This is the situation we find ourselves on turn 226 under your control, okay? Let's take a quick screenshot of this. I will click on... Hang on. I'm going to click on the city of Mainz, and then I'm going to take a screenshot of this board state, right? So we have that sort of in our back pocket where we're going to do our analysis. Because what we're going to do is we're going to load back to the original first save where I have... Well, it's turn 205. So I will actually have about 23 turns to try and get you into a better state than you're currently in. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about here. First things first, I want to talk about the fact that you got your government plaza really early and then didn't do anything with it because you went for the warlord's throne. Why did you go for the Warlord's Throne if you're going for a Sim City game where you're not going to war? This is a war. This is a war building. You get this if you're going to kill people. You don't get this if you're going to sit back and do nothing. You get this if you're going to kill people. You even just killing Samarkand here would have been a reasonable justification to get this, but you got this and then did nothing with it. You would like either of the other two options would have been so much better for you. This is just an absolute waste of your production and your time and your energy and your opportunity. Total waste. You should not have done this. This should be an audience chamber or an ancestral hall. Also, you said you got your 8 cities out really early, but Hamburg is literally like 3 turns into building a campus on turn 205. This city couldn't have been settled before turn 200 because it doesn't even have a monument or granary in it. You don't even have a builder over here. You cannot go campus first. You have to go on a coastal city like this. You have to go monument. You have to go granary, monument, builder. Okay, especially if you don't have ancestral hall to get the free builder. You have to do it in like this order. You can go builder. You can go builder, granary, monument, or granary, builder, monument. Because it's a coastal city. You have to do it in this sort of an order. Now, personally, I think the faster return on investment is a builder, but the great thing about a builder is we can build it in a different city. Also, what are you building preserves for? I don't understand. This is a tourism victory thing. I get that you're like, you want to do the really, really cool preserve thing, but why? Why do you want to do this? You know, this is cool and all. I agree. This is really, really cool. But is this what you want to be doing with your production? Also, this city doesn't have a monument. Where's your monuments? Why don't you have monuments? Where are your monuments? It's literally the most cost-efficient building in the entire game, and you haven't built it in every city instantly. Seriously, I don't know how many, I can't click on this city, it's triggering me. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Get your monuments! You got the granaries and then you skip. This is so important. When you're doing a science victory, which is kind of what it looks like you're trying to do because you did go for Hermetic Order, you need to get your monuments. It's the only source of culture you get. Now, I get that you could probably justify skipping the monuments because you had the Pantanal and you went for groves, but still get your monuments, okay? Definitely don't do this grove thing until way later in the game, in my opinion. You're missing harbors. Listen, if your city is coastal, then you build a harbor. You cannot build it without, okay? And unless you're playing with the double trade route, Secret Society, don't also go for a commercial hub. Now, the problem is you're playing Germany on a coastal map, which is a little bit awkward because you want to go for commercial hubs, but you're really incentivized to go for harbors. Which makes things kind of a little bit awkward. Now you do have really, really good industrial zones, but the problem is you didn't leverage these into anything. You don't need factories in every city, by the way. You just don't. Unless you're specifically going for the coal power plant, then fine, yeah, sure, you can go for it. But definitely don't do that before you have your universities, which you do have. You do have your universities. Also, you're not feeding your cities. You're 6 out of 6 trade routes. What are you doing with them? You're kind of doing weird stuff with your trade routes, so we can kind of talk about that a little bit. Let's go through and break things down. So we've talked about the Government Plaza mistake. We've talked also, why did you get Oracle? What does Oracle do for you this game? Great people points in your capital? Paid I mean the extra great people points is nice, but it's an extra 2 great scientist points, an extra 2 was this really worth sacrificing your early settles for this? Because you have to build this super early. I don't think it was worth it. I think this was a net detriment to your empire to go for this. Really, really and truly, I do. Now, what other wonders did you go for? You mentioned another wonder that you grabbed. You said you got Mausoleum, I think it was. Am I crazy? Germany wonder. Dude, this is a turn 200 mausoleum. This is the latest mausoleum I've ever seen in my life. Now, it's still okay. 1, 2, 3. It's an okay mausoleum, but goddamn, is it late? It's so late. You don't even have your campus and university in here fully built. So let's let's go through every city and just start clearing out the construction tree so we can like start from scratch. Whew. All right, so we've cleared out your construction tree so we can get a little bit of a better idea of where things are. Let's delete some pins too, because some of these things have already been placed. So we can get your empire back up and running. But it's going to take some work. I also need to talk about your governor choices. You've made some reasonable governor choices. Pingala up to grants is totally fine. Okay, this is a perfectly reasonable decision to go for Pingala. You have Pingala in a relatively high pop city, although I would argue, why isn't Pingala in your capital? I guess you went for vertical integration, which kind of makes sense if you're going for a scientific victory. Pingala should be in your capital though, because you're not benefiting from vertical integration right now, and that's an extra 4 science and 4 culture that you're missing out on because Pingala isn't in your capital. Swapping now probably isn't worth it, but Pingala should have been in your capital for quite a while. Also, your secret society choice this game, very, very odd. I don't know why you would go for grey people when you're playing on deity and you're only getting a handful of grey people. If you're going to go for ley lines, you have to very specifically be going for a scientific victory, and you have to pump hard for those scientific grey people in order to make these ley lines an extra science powerhouse. That's my opinion. Now, the Alchemical Society is quite good, because if we take a moment here to look at the Alchemical Society, it gives you... It's a campus district that generates gold equal to its science adjacency, which is, it also gives you 4 science, 2 production, 1 housing, 1 citizen slot, and then 1 great person point for each engineer, merchant, and great scientist. What does that tell you? That tells you that this is a really high value building, and you should be rushing it in every single city that you can. This is a rush building. It is so powerful. The earlier you get it, the better it pays off. One of your biggest problems though is the complete lack of scientific city-states on the map. So you need to go exploring. You need to find some. You need to send caravels out. You need to send ironclads. This ironclad, get out there. Go search. I don't care that it's hurt. I need to find a scientific city-state so we can fix the despicable state of your empire. What else? Trading. Arabia, hello. How would you like to establish an embassy? We will also get ourselves mutual open borders. Our best way to deal with Arabia is to pray that he does not attack us. That is reality, okay? So we're going to send him a gift of 100 gold to try to get him to make friends with us. So there's a gift of 100 gold for Arabia that might encourage him to be more friendly towards us instead of attacking us. Now we're also going to come in here and we're going to look to sell off our strategics, ideally for raw gold right now, because we just need stuff now. We're going to see if we can purchase luxuries and also any great works we can grab for like cheap, in case we have room for great works. Do we have any great works? It doesn't look like it. So let's go through our cities now and have a look at what we can build and what we should build. Now, looking at my capital, I actually think your capital is pretty well designed. You have basically everything that I would consider building in here. The only thing you're missing is a diplomatic quarter. That's it. You're missing the diplo quarter. And I would put the diplo quarter right there. Let's get that diplo quarter right now so we can start playing around more suzerainty. So we'll get to work on the diplo quarter because we need the diplo quarter. Plus it'll make any trade routes we send to the capital much better. Now, looking at the cities of... Yeah, these are terrible. These are not great trade routes. Hamburg should have a trade route going to the capital. Dortmund should have a trade route going to the capital. And it does actually. So that's actually quite good. And we'll grab the monument. Let's see. So we want a trade route. We want a trade route and a campus in here. So what is the best way to do that? We can probably put a commercial hub there. And then I guess a campus there. It's only a +1 campus on a hill, which sucks. Well, then I guess a +1 campus isn't much worse than a +0 campus on a flat land. So we get to preserve the good hill tile. So let's... I have to buy that tile. That's an expensive tile. Do I want to do that? I might. Looking over here in Mainz, you have plus 13 gold from your banks. I will finish the factory because it's 1 turn, but 13 gold from banks is absurd. You need to get those ASAP. Frankfurt as well. Let's go ahead and... do we get the factory? No, the factory isn't good enough yet. I think... Oh my god, you have a harbour without your shipyard? That's a 4 production, 8 gold shipyard right there. You need to get that. You need to get that trade route as well. Although you already have a trade route in the city, I think. Yeah, you do. But we want that because it's going to make the city just grow much easier. Focusing on production is actually a reasonable thing to do in this circumstance because you don't have a way to grow the city. But we are building a lighthouse, so focusing on food right now is totally fine to do. If we really wanted to optimize, maybe we would focus on, production for 4 turns. But, the city is going to continue to grow anyway, so there's not really a big difference here if we, optimize for an extra 12 production. I mean, I guess theoretically you can make the argument that you should be optimizing for that extra 12 production. Sure, if you're doing super optimal stuff. Now, looking at Heidelberg, we absolutely... Well, the campus is almost finished, so we will finish that, but then we want to get our monument. We want to place our harbour in here because it's like the critical district that we need to get. I absolutely would not have built my Hansa first to this city. I know they're half price. I maybe placing it is fine, but building it was a mistake. You need to get your gold income up. You need to get your gold income up, especially in a game where you have a ton of commercial city-states, especially. Now, I know you have Auckland and Mexico, and those are great, but not completely necessary. If we look at Berlin, we have a factory available. So we have a campus, we have a harbour, we have a Hansa. The only thing maybe missing from here is instead of making a factory is cracking out like 3 extra builders. Why don't you have Liang also? You should have Liang in one of your cities where you just spam out builders. You have the production to have every tile in these cities improved. They should be improved. Looking at the city of Hamburg, the city needs builder charges primarily. It's going to need a granary and a monument before it does anything. And it's going to need a harbour at some point. So we'll get that harbour placed for now, but then we'll get to work on the granary and the monument. Looking at the city of Mogadishu, let's repair the market, then we'll get the library. We will also really badly want the shipyard. Yeah. Market, library, shipyard into probably go Alchemical Society next, actually, because I think there might be campus production effects in effect, actually. So let's go library first. Any cities that have campus buildings available, now that I have that knowledge about the thing, so we want to get that Alchemical Society as fast as possible. Let's bring you down to defend the city. So we're going full defensive turtle mode. That's our goal. We're going full exploration. We're trying to make a difference here. So who is this player? This is Aztec. Let's talk to the Aztec and say, hey, can I have open borders? Thank you very much. Let's go ahead and upgrade the galley to a caravel so we can also send that exploring. Rome will not give us open borders, but that's fine. I think Greece is somewhere here to the north. We might be able to explore his coastline. Alchemical Society up, and next turn. Arabia, I need you to go be friends with me. I captured one of Arabia's spies, so I'm going to send them back for a little bit of cash off them. Explore Aztec's coastline. We have access to Ada Lovelace. I think as Germany, Ada Lovelace is kind of useless, so I'm going to pass on her and let someone else pick up a great engineer. We got a Diplo quarter. Let's immediately get our consulate. That's worth 8 gold per turn and 2 influence points, which is huge. We're sitting on 2 envoys. We don't have a use for these yet. We can just save them. We're hoping to find a scientific city-state to make use of them. I need to change your government. This is kind of okay. We'll talk about why this is bad in a minute. Yeah, your government is in like bad shape. Craftsman, fine. Discipline, not necessary. You should totally have plugged in veterancy. For sure, you should have veterancy plugged in instead of discipline. Gothic architecture, completely pointless. Do not have this plugged in. You should have either urban planning, town charters, caravanseries, trade confederation, or one of these one of these plugged in. And then inspiration, absolutely violently worthless. You should have literally anything. Like Republican Legacy is better than this. Like 2 great scientist points is like a campus and a library. worth of great science. It's worthless, okay? Do not do it. It's terrible. It's terrible, 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 terrible. Never do it. There's only very, very specific niche situations in which you would plug that in, and that's when it's going to secure you a great scientist that you otherwise wouldn't have gotten. You never want to plug it in just passively chipping away for you. Now, the really good news is we do have a golden age available to us, and we did just pick up steam power. So let's have a look at what your tech path is. You basically need to beeline chemistry. You need to beeline it. We like, even if we get war decked, we have to try and just defend with what we have. Our options here, Heartbeat of Steam is an okay option here for us to continue our golden aging. We got our lighthouse in here, so now we can unprioritize production, and now the city will continue to grow at a reasonable rate. We'll get the shipyard into the bank because we want to maximize the amount of gold that we're making, and then we'll go for the factory and stuff like that in here. It might be okay actually just to take the 3 turns to pick up a ancient walls here, just so we can the city has a shot, so any, like, you know, in case we do get attacked, we look a little bit scarier. Dortmund has finished its monument. I'm going to finish the Grove, but only because it was almost completed. That's the only reason I'm finishing it. Otherwise, I'm not a big fan of it. We have a builder. We don't even have the builder card plugged in, which is an absolute travesty. I'll be real with you. It's a travesty that we don't have the builder card plugged in, and I can't change it for another 3 turns or without spending money. That's devastatingly bad, but it's okay. We could survive with these terrible decisions. This farm here is terrible. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say that it should just actually be removed. Hello, Ottomans. Let's go ahead and pay for mutual open borders with the Ottoman Empire, and we can explore their coastline and see if maybe we can find some city-states. World Congress is happening. Let's boost up the World's Fair. We will also say that we want to ban stealing money because we have a lot of commercial hubs. So siphoning funds, we want that to stop. Normally I would vote that up, but because we're playing Germany and we make a lot of commercial hubs, we want it to not be the thing. Let's also vote for Saladin in this. Maybe he'll vote for himself. Who knows? The Diplomatic Congress, not the most important thing to get right. Trajan 1, range units 1, and siphoning funds is now banned. Perfect. So people will not be able to steal money from me for another 30 turns. So my income is secure. There's Geneva. This is game changing, okay? Just by upgrading this galley and moving it to the left, I have literally changed your entire empire's trajectory for the next while, okay? Unlock for 255 gold, get rid of Gothic architecture, get rid of inspiration, get rid of discipline, come over here, we'll plug in the beautiful card veterancy. You could also have retainers plugged in here, but this will allow us to build our harbors up a little bit quicker. For sure, we need to have now plugged in Diplomatic League and Charismatic Leader are both good. I think Charismatic Leader, we can get rid of one of these next time we do our government, but Republican Legacy for sure, I think, is the best one of these cards that you have available to you. 7 amenities and 7 housing is like hard to pass up. Then in terms of this, the main thing that we're looking for is like just good value. Like, and I think urban planning helps out our weaker cities the most. So we'll plug in urban planning because that'll help out cities like Hamburg. Now, with that envoy card plugged in, we put 1 point. Look at this science, okay? 121, boom. 1 point into Geneva, 127. Another point into Geneva, boom, 139. We have just jumped our science up to be way more competitive with Arabia just by exploring the map, okay? It is so important that you find those scientific city-states. They are game defining. And now we can build our shipyards faster. We're starting to tilt back the roller coaster in the right direction. We need to bring all of our defensive units down here. And so in terms of the defensive line, this is the defensive line that we're going to hold. And what I mean by that is we're not going to hold these tiles. This is the tiles that the enemy are allowed to have. We hold everything beyond that, okay? They can have 2 tiles to attack the city. They can have that. Our goal is to hold. And you could even make the argument that you could also cede this tile to them. But we are going to try to hold the city across the river if they do indeed decide to attack me, which they probably should still if they're following the same relative script, but they might not attack because the AI isn't guaranteed to repeat their behavior. He's going to give me a great work just for some iron and Diplo favor. I'm going to take that great work just because that passive 3 culture per turn is quite nice. It's like having another monument is the way to think about that. It's just getting that free great work. There's Patala Palace. Colonialism has advanced. We finished a consulate in our capital. Now it's worth 8 gold and 2 science, and we can head on our way up to the Chancery. I mean, the coal power plant is worth 26 production, which is insane. So that's hard to pass up, I think. But getting the first Diplo thing was definitely worth it. This one, maybe we can delay it slightly for coal power. I know, it sounds crazy that I'm delaying these things, but it was necessary to delay them slightly. Let's get rid of this farm because it's not doing anything for our empire. Just clean it up. There's Chinguetti, another city-state, possibly even free builders for us to pick up. Remember, exploring. I know I fail to explore in a lot of my games, but it really is powerful. Wow, actually, I got so much exploration value from the Panama Canal there. Crazy. I'm going to continue to head around Rome's borders to see if I can find a city-state. This spy should be heading for campuses in whoever is the top science. So that would be the Ottomans. So the Ottomans are actually your main threat this game. So we're going to go ahead and send them to Istanbul so we can start tech stealing. We have access to humanism. Perfect. Next steps for us is probably to head up to civil engineering to get that extra builder card. I didn't actually plug in the builder card. I forgot to do that. Urban planning should be swapped immediately with serfdom. Although we actually don't need that many builder charges. If I really think about it, right now we don't. But it's still worth having plugged in because it's so valuable. Let's go ahead and plug in serfdom. We have our bank in Mainz now. Let's grab that coal power plant for the 22 extra production that it provides. Found Halong Bay, a little bit of Eris score. Aztecs like us. In Istanbul, I want you to steal tech boosts. Where did those builders go? Okay, they ran over here to the left. We also found Fez. Oh my god. This is why exploring is so important. We're going to get another pair of envoys in a few turns and then we can... Oh, you gotta explore, dude. You gotta find those scientific city-states. It's so key. It's so key. These guys want my great work. I'm gonna keep my great work. I really... This like... Just exploring the map has revolutionized your empire, like unironically, like just having a gander, having a quick mosey on around the neighborhood has given us so much value. Yoink, free builder, and we're probably going to get another 1 or 2 as well on top of that, and another free builder. Yoink, let's send him back to the capital, or to the homeland rather. Now the good news is you don't have like a huge number of tiles that you need to improve, but there's definitely tiles that could be improved, like for sure. In Berlin, let's grab the factory and we'll go for the coal power plant now as well. We got the Grove in Dortmund. Let's go ahead and place the campus down. Let's also go ahead and swap this tile to get the commercial hub down. But I need that campus now. Campuses are like a big deal for me. The city's production is totally okay. I'm sitting on 2 envoys, 1 point into Fez, 142 science, boom, up to 149, and another envoy, boom, 162 science. We are now par with Arabia for science, okay? So like I know I'm really beating this, like this like a... Not beating this bush. I'm beating this. This horse is dead. Okay, the exploration horse. But my God, I really hope you can see just how important it is to find city-states that align with your empire's goals, and then to get like 1 to 3 envoys in them. It's so incredibly important. It's game-changing. Capital has finished its factory. Let's go ahead and grab the coal power plant, then the chancery, then the bank in that order. We're good to go. What government are we in? We're still in we're in a Merchant Republic. Merchant Republic is totally fine. We've got the shipyard in Mogadishu. Arabia is now friendly. Declare friendship with Arabia. They will not take a friendship, which probably means they're looking to declare war on us still. Which probably tells me like a couple frigates are going to be enough to defend me. So I'll get to work on some frigates. I'll start just making frigates. They should be able to bombard... Musketmen 2. Actually, I'll get the musketmen first. Then I will make some caravels to crash into Halab. Maybe I could buy a little chunk of niter here or there. I could buy 58 niter for 400 gold. I'm going to do that from you. That means I can now spam like 3 frigates out pretty comfortably. I'll chop here to get that campus a few turns sooner. Also, always ABC, always be chopping. Always be chopping. It's so huge, especially like late game. It makes your city so much more relevant. Early game, I can make the argument for improving. But man, late game, you chop. You chop like your life depends upon it. Doesn't Istanbul have a scientific... Did I not filter the list of cities that you go to based on having a campus? Yes, Istanbul has a campus. Siphon funds was banned. Therefore, I wish to choose the mission to steal technology which does not exist. What? What? Excuse me. What? Oh, you're already stealing tech here. That makes sense. Ah, yes. That makes sense. You're already stealing tech here. Well, we'll go to Drabzon instead. We found Ayayavikul, whatever that place is called. Oh my god, everyone else got so many more cities than you. It's kind of embarrassing, bro. Right, there's scientific theory. Always be improving your bonus resources. Now, in the city of Hamburg, you could make the argument of not chopping here, which I think is reasonable. It doesn't have a lot of other productive tiles, but it will as its borders grow. Did you want to settle here, or were you building something there? Interesting. You were probably going to put a district there or something. Tile improvements, tile improvements, tile improvements, tile improvements. So I think in terms of exploration here, this ironclad has done its job. It found... nothing is super important, but it did give me really good recon here, and it helps me cover the globe in terms of exploration. So I'm going to bring it home now. It's done its job. This caravel is still providing value in terms of city-state finds. Okay, like look at the city-state list from before I took control of the save file. You had seen about like 8 city-states, and all of them were like industrial and trade. And now we've seen so many more. So I'm going to try to get an alliance with Arabia every single turn. Like I'm going to be like, hey, do you want to be friends? Hey, do you want to be friends? In case their disposition changes on any single individual turn, we will be able to capture that. Let's go through and do a little bit more trading. We have nothing to sell or trade. What about a Diplo favor? There's 250 gold in the bank instantly. Lumber mill. I think a lumber mill here is reasonable. This city lacks... like, I'm tempted to chop this, but the city just lacks for production so much that it's hard to justify. Let's see if we can't get open borders with Greece. Greece doesn't love me, but they don't hate me enough to prevent open borders, and I might be able to find some information by running around their coastline. We have most of our factories online, so Harbour, Campus, Hansa, probably the only thing is missing is this, is the commercial hub. We'll place it. We'll go for the coal power plant, do the commercial hub combo. Yeah, I like... when you're playing as Germany and you have a coastal game, I don't understand the choice to go Hermetic Society when you could have gone the other one, the Elves of Minerva, and had 2 trade routes per city. I mean, like, these ley lines are cool and they give a bunch of like district adjacency, but damn, double trade routes in a game as Germany where you already build one more district than any other player and you have the production to manage it. You could have just you could have had like an absolutely savage game if you had gone for Audience Chamber or Ancestral Hall and then gone for Elves of Minerva. Like, this would have been such a different game. This would be like a really interesting game to play through. So thinking about Mainz, all that has left is an encampment. I don't have a reason to build a stable and an armory other than to like very marginally increase the city's production and maybe produce units faster. Do I actually want to go to war with Arabia? There's an interesting question. Now, here's the thing. A war with Arabia is going to take me a very long time to win because we're roughly equal on science. Yeah, we're roughly equal on science. And he's had more science than me for a significant portion of the game. Like, if we look at Arabia, there's 7 techs ahead of us. We need to get a little bit more of a tech lead, which means this city also is lacking tiles. You need to give the city some tiles. I'm sorry, but does Berlin really need this farm? Or this yeah, no. You need to, like... take some of these tiles, because this city was just lacking growth, and this city scales amazingly off of growth. So Berlin has like the whole Pantanal to itself. It doesn't need growth, okay? It'll be fine without this. Mainz, on the other hand, absolutely needed growth. So what we're going to do here is we're going to spam campus research grants to try to maximize the amount of science we're getting out of this city, and we're also going to lock in the science button here, because like our goal is, right, when I hit end turn here and I click this, it goes up to 161 science, and then when I hit end turn, that should also go up again, because the production is being converted into science now at a rate of 15%. So just doing a little bit of unit management, micromanagement, control, improving things. Oh, we found Bologna, another scientific city-state. Are you kidding me? There were 3. Now we go for colonialism because that has 2 envoys on it. We've got to rush colonialism. I'm baffled. I'm baffled. Just like how unfortunate your exploration was this game, that you didn't find these scientific city-states that are going to absolutely carry me through to completely dunk on your performance in this game. You actually had a really good game going. The only thing you were missing, realistically, are a few early game mistakes and decisions, like the government plaza, thinking that your way out of this was going to war, when it's not. You need to tech before you can go to war. You need a tech lead to make a war work. You need a tech equality or a tech lead. You can't attack down. You can't attack up, basically, technologically. It just doesn't work. It's very, very difficult to do, except in the extreme early game, because when the AI is at war, all they will do is spam units, and so like if one of their units kills 2 of their units, you're going to lose that because the AI gets a production boost. So now we're up to 172 tech per turn, because this city is also getting you can see here 14.9 science from campus research grants. So this is a huge amount of science just from running the city. This is part of the power of Germany's, they're able to go for industrial zones and make it work is due to this sort of a thing. Oh my God, the Ottoman science actually just keeps getting more and more absurd. Now this is probably a lost game off of the back of how late your exploration was, alongside a few other like small mistakes. Like, look at this. These libraries are worth 4 science, and these alchemical societies are worth 8. This is just huge. In fact, you could go as far as to say that you should be buying these. I won't, but you could make that argument. Continue to explore. If I was able to hit one more scientific city-state, that would be amazing. Continue to steal tech. Here we go. Robert Goddard triggers the eureka moment for the rocketry technology. Now, before I use him, I am going to go ahead and finish the mausoleum here. I kind of forgot about the mausoleum. That was a mistake. That was something you were doing correctly, is like, if you can get the mausoleum, you should totally pick it up. For sure. That's like something I maybe overly criticized you on. Honestly, this sort of preserve thing, this is the sort of thing you do when you're already winning. That's when if you know what you're doing and you know that you've got your game relatively secure, then you can do these kind of plays. I'm kind of tempted to actually delete this cattle and put a big load of farms in here. Maybe. We'll have a think about it. Another industrial city-state. Perfect. Okay, Arabia did declare war on me, which is not completely unexpected. But we have frigates in position to help with this. I don't know why I can't fortify this Muscatman. I'm a bit confused by it. Do I have to wake him up before I do it? Probably. So I'll use our range units to defend. And we'll block this with our galley. Now we can set up a little bit more sensible trade routes, actually, because our trade routes got yeeted because we were trading heavily with Arabia. It's a little bit of a spooky moment right now, I'm not going to lie. But I think we can do it. So if we think of a line infantry, a caravel, if I can get the ironclad into this city, it should prevent it from being like one-tapped. I didn't realize that there would be line infantry behind my lines here. That's kind of bad. So the best case scenario here for this war is to force Arabia into a peace. It's just a stalemate. Like if we can get a stalemate, we've won this war. That's how I want you to think about this. Samarkand has infantry. If I could get Samarkand on my side, it's very unlikely. But if I could, it would be amazing. Yeah. This might be a lost war because of the Samarkand infantry stuff. We'll see though. We might be able to pull it back. We might be able to. There's a small percentage chance. Another city-state from exploration. Hey, my trebuchet managed to tank a hit from the line infantry. It's exactly what we like to see. Shoot the line infantry once, twice, 3 times. Possibly kill. We did not kill. That is incredibly unfortunate. Hopefully he takes a promotion rather than attacking us. So I'm doing internal trade routes to my capital here. To Aachen because it's worth 4 food and 5 production. Get the ironclad into the city to give it combat strength to defend. And I think we're more or less guaranteed to hold this now. Or at least we're not in the worst shape we could be in. It could be a lot worse with regards to the status of our empire. Another city-state in Kandy. Very cool. Let's continue to pepper this vampire as it tries to push its way through. We can one-tap you. You can take a grape shot promotion. That should give you quite a bit of defensive combat strength. We can double tap this guy. Like surprisingly we are holding. And like we don't need to do anything else. This is Arabia's war to lose, if you know what I mean. Let's continue to make musketmen because they do hold pretty well against these vampires. Not amazingly, but they hold pretty well. So we have colonialism, which gave us 2 extra envoys, which we're going to immediately send to Bologna again. We're only really looking for, boom, 175 signs, and then boom again, 188 signs. We're now way more competitive than we were. Now, when you told me you thought the save was dead, it was turned 226, okay? I'm going to play out those 3 more. I'm going to play out 3 more turns and see if I can have us in a better position. And I honestly, I think I can. I think I can have us in a better position. In fact, I think we're already in a better position. Just off the back of a few, and like it was, I didn't even really like completely retool your empire or even use like the developer tools to like rebuild your empire. I just explored the map. Like it was that simple. You know what I mean? These tiny oversights that players are making. Also, we just got access to replaceable parts, which makes our farms way better and our pastures way better. We're 2 techs from chemistry. Maybe I'll play till I get research labs, just to really show you that maybe you have a chance of coming back into this game. Suleiman does have his spaceports, which is scary. And I think this is basically all of the useful exploration we're going to get this game. But we made massive strides with regards to our knowledge. We found Mount Vesuvius. We found all sorts of really like so much era scores, so many city states. Let's see what else we can pull off here. There's Mausoleum, which means we can come over here and take our friend Robert Goddard, pop him in. Okay, so he's going to trigger the Eureka for rocketry. So now we have the rocketry Eureka, right? We're going to get to work on our spaceport soon. And most importantly, we can use him again, and then we get a total of a 40% boost to our space race projects, which is massive. Massive. Huge deal. We killed off that line infantry. We're holding the line, as they say, and we have like really cool coastal tiles in here. We have the shipyard, I believe. Yep. We got the bank in our capital. Now we didn't hit any coal this game, which is like a big sad moment because we're going to miss out on the power on our stock exchanges and stuff like that. But soon we will get spaceports. I am going to place a theater square this game because it would be nice to get use out of Mary Leakey. It's 1,000 signs from her. I may skip her though, depending on what the status of like Great People Point generation is. This galley, by the way, is massively clutch for protecting this. I don't know if you intentionally built this galley to defend that choke point, but it was absolutely the correct decision. If you just built this for era score, also well done. If you got it for free or something, I don't know what to tell you. You're an accidental genius. So it is officially turn 226. we have nailed out incredible changes to our civilization, and we're basically in a completely different world than we were in this other save file. In fact, let me pull up this save file so we can like really look at it, and I'll show you my screen. All right, look at this. I don't know how to make this full screen, but like what, we're at 119 signs per turn versus 192 signs per turn. We're at 73 culture per turn in this file, and now we're at 84.3. We have what, civil engineering and colonialism researched versus just now getting nationalism. Somehow in your save file, the Ottomans did worse than they are in my save file, because like they're at 381 right now, but in my save file they're at like 477. So I've just got bad luck on that front. But you know, there's so much we could talk about here in terms of like development and stuff. Like you're building cuirassiers and units, and who cares, dude? Eco your way out of this problem. You've got like isolation. You can't be attacked. Eco your way out of this problem. Use range attacks, abuse choke points. Use the tools that you've developed for yourself to play an isolated in the corner boosted game. Also, want to point out that like the city of Hamburg in your version of the save file, I'm pretty sure is slowly plinking away at a pathetic campus. In my version of the save file, it's got like a monument, a granary, and it'll be able to get its campus really, really soon, because I actually have 2 chops in here, and now that I have tiles that are workable, I can actually chop this out and have it like within a few turns with these builders. Yes, lovely, you stepped into my trap. Thank you, builder. So like just from just exploring the map, finding these city-states completely changed the game. Completely. And, you know, we have so many missions we could do. If I open up my Envoy quest window here, so someone wants me to train a privateer, trigger a Eureka for military science, sending trade routes is available, recruiting great admiral is a good one. There's so many things we could do here to continue to boost our Envoy status. Here's the thing. This save file is not yet saved. I have completely turned around the save file from where you had it. However, that does not mean that my quest is over. I have not finished protecting you from your own mistakes. However, I will make a save here called Barbarossa 3 Fixed. And this is me considering your empire at least patched up. We have fixed some of the glaring holes. We haven't completely eradicated all of the problems, but a lot of the glaring holes have been addressed. Now, let's push a little bit closer to victory. Sarah Breedlove is not a very great merchant for us. So I'm going to go ahead and pass on her. Let someone else pick her up. I will be spending a little bit less time talking and just like playing through. We definitely should have Liang. We absolutely want Liang in Berlin. Well, probably in Mogadishu actually now at this point, because this is where we got our mausoleum. And now we can farm fear from the AI. And what is fear? If the AI thinks it's losing a war, it will give you more favorable terms in peace. So what do? You go attack their cities in order to farm fear. You want them to fear you. I don't think our government needs to change at all. Maybe public works could be swapped out with something, but I think it's fine as is. I just want to point out that I tried to make friends with Arabia, okay? They were hoisted by their own petard here. We successfully stole nanotechnology boost. Boom. That's actually quite helpful. That means he actually has nanotechnology researched, which is kind of... Oh no. We just got lucky on a boost steal. Never mind, he doesn't actually have it. So, you know, there's scary units coming. Let's go ahead and head towards nationalism. Maybe we can mount a better defense. We absolutely still have to rush research labs because it's the only way we get to a victory. It's risky. I will accept that. I will accept that it's a risky play to rush towards it. but it's probably our only move. I'm going to grab the archaeological museum in our capital. It's not a bad one to pick up if you can grab it. A little bit of extra culture goes quite a long way in this kind of a game. We're sitting on 2 envoys. Now you could make it, there's quite a few different ways you could argue this about where we should put these envoys. One argument is to start putting them preemptively in places like Bologna, Fez and Geneva in order to be able to unlock that +3 science in research labs and chancelleries the second we get them. And I think that's actually a reasonable choice if you were to make that choice. I think that would be something that I totally wouldn't contest if someone made that decision. But there's also other choices, like, for example, getting a little bit more production off some of these. Could also pay off. That said, there are so many envoys available in the next phase of the culture tree, like 1, 2, 3, that's 6 envoys in total, which would get me up to level 2 with both of these, plus another 2. I think it's time that we started building up to the level 6 friendship with these scientific city-states in order to power harder for the late game. Right, so let's go ahead and chop first for the campus, and then we'll do that again, because the city now has productive tiles. We don't need to keep that going. Just like these small little optimizations are totally good to keep up with. You could also argue that I shouldn't be building an archaeological museum in the capital, and I should be totally beelining for more campus research grants. And I think that's a reasonable thing to do. However, I would like to finish the archaeological museum because I've already invested into it now. In terms of banks, I don't think stock exchanges are worth getting to unless you actually have the power for your cities. Banks are totally worth picking up though. If you have a couple of relationships with economic city-states, let's go ahead and buy the lighthouse. I would love to buy the shipyard in here as well, but I'm going to have to just wait a couple turns until I can do that. So we're still farming fear on Halab. Our hope is that he will give us favorable peace deals as he sees this city's health starting to go down. Chop, chop. There is the campus in here. Boom, boom, boom. The Ottoman science is absurd at the moment. It's just like you're very, like, the position you're in is just so late to be getting to a lot of these key moments. Yeah, 3 oil. Okay, he took Sarah Breedlove. I'll take the 3 oil guy. Totally. 3 free oil. And trade routes get better for strategic resources. Totally fine. Purchase ourselves a shipyard in here for the really, really nice production boost. Make sure we're focusing on science in our cities that are essentially completed, because that's what we have to start thinking about now. We've actually finished a lot of our cities and we're just powering now for the space race victory. That's kind of like what the position we're trying to get into is to be positioned well for a scientific victory. Suleiman has launched the first phase and he's working on the second. I'm going to pass on Mary Leakey in the hope that there's a better scientist in the next turn. As good as Mary Leakey would be in a culture game, not so useful right now for me. So still trying to farm fear off of this city, and we're getting levels on our ships, which helps to continue to farm fear. Our gold income has dipped, which probably tells me that I have things to sell. 29 gold per turn. What about luxuries? 20 gold, 10 gold. Perfect, perfect. Any strategics people want to buy? You want to buy my iron. Any niter buyers? You want to buy my niter. You want to buy my niter. Any coal buyers? Any aluminium buyers? Any oil buyers? Sure thing, there are. Let's buy some luxuries. Boom, boom, boom. Tons of luxuries. Let's also go ahead and buy, if we can, coal. Maybe having coal per turn would be helpful here. I don't know. It's hard to tell. There's a little bit of error score from burning coal. We completed the bank over here. Now that we have access to power, a stock exchange is a much better choice. That's an extra 7 gold from there. Yes, it does consume some power. Is there a way to actually check how much power it uses? Yeah, 3 power. So it's gonna burn an extra coal per turn. But I think that might be worth it. So the city just got its walls, so farming fear won't work, but he might be in a position where he wants peace. No, he still thinks he's way stronger than me, which is fair enough. He does have 100 more science than me, but I'm now starting to build my research labs. Boom, boom, boom. Critical that we get these ASAP. Like, if a city can build a research lab when you unlock them, you build that research lab. I don't care what you're doing. You start building those research labs, because that power consumption for science is huge. Let's grab natural history, opera and ballet, nationalism, and then scorched earth to maximize our envoy gains. So we can no longer farm fear at Halab, unfortunately. We could probably try to farm fear at another city though. We also successfully stole another technology, robotics. Now, it's likely that this game may be unwinnable, but that's totally fine. Like, we're making kind of progress. I haven't really been narrating what I'm doing because I'm just trying to like push through really quickly. Oh, Arabia is ready for peace. Arabia is ready for peace. Okay, that's a big deal, depending on the peace that he wants to offer us. Let's have a look. He will give us a little bit of gold. Okay, so that's a successful defense. Didn't cost us too much in terms of units or gold or whatever. We were able to defend mostly with units we already had, which is a success in my opinion. Bunch of tech boosts, and we also came second at the World's Fair, which got us 2 civic boosts. We didn't get the diplomatic victory point, but it's not a big deal. Now, Janaki, I feel like I got screwed here. Can I pass on her? There's the Carl Sagan that we want. So I feel like passing there was the correct move. Now we get the Carl Sagan, and we're in with a chance to maybe win the game. First research lab completed. Straight back on. Campus research grants. Boom, boom, boom. We want to prevent siphon funds again. Although we may actually want... Yeah, I think we want to prevent siphon funds again, just so we're not a target by the AI spies. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So fomenting unrest is better, which doesn't make any sense. It's totally fine though. That's what the AI chose. Now I'm wondering how close are we to losing by a culture? And I don't think we're very close to losing by culture. Science is our main threat here. We're sitting on 4 envoys. Perfect. This all lined up amazingly well for me. So I put 1 into Fez. I don't need to be suzerain of Fez, but look at the science. Okay, 260, 266. I put 2 more into Bologna. Boom, 272. I put 1 more into Geneva, and that won't increase just yet, but once we have opera and ballet, this will start to increase. And don't forget that science is now going to start applying across these new research labs, right? We only have 1 research lab finished, and it's cranking out a lovely 8 science, but it should actually theoretically be higher if I were to get the cities to refresh. 14 science per research lab now. That's a huge amount of science. Another research lab completed. Let's go on to doing campus research grants to finish these as fast as possible. Also to pick up Carl Sagan if we can. Boom. There's another research lab completed. More campus research grants up to 353 science per turn. We're starting to now crank really hard. Not a bad great engineer to pick up as far as I can tell. Yoink. Relatively cheap as well. We definitely want Nikola Tesla. Now whether or not we can get him. We probably have a good chance to get him because we're playing Germany. Now what we want to look for is where is Arabia or where is the Ottomans? They've already completed it. So I just need to start disrupting their spaceports at this point. So any spaceports I can hit, I need to disrupt. And I need like a cavalry unit or something to get over here and explore their territory. Let's use our gold in Heidelberg to buy... I can't quite afford a research lab soon, though. Another city we can focus on science and then begin doing... Sorry, not commercial hub research grants. I want to do campus research grants. Boom. There is another research lab in Heidelberg. Now, the reason we're doing science focus is we want the city to actually work the scientific district. Because that's worth 9 science per turn now. So that's huge. We're up to 400 science per turn. Only 30 turns after you gave me this save, I have quadrupled your science. So I feel like I've earned the right to say that I'm, if not the best, one of the best players, at least in single player. So our power just collapsed because of the lack of iron, or lack of coal rather. That's totally fine. We could just go ahead and look for more to buy. I'm willing to pay this 45 gold per turn. How much coal am I burning per turn, though, is the question. Not much. Crap. The flooding has begun. That's the big problem now. And I don't think I can get to computers fast enough. I might be able to. Is Valletta in the game? No, there's no Valletta. So flooding's a problem because it just killed a holy site or two of mine. Anywhere else had major flooding? No, just flooded this campus, unfortunately. It's kind of sucks. It's not the end of the world. We might be able to make it work. I'll need to build armories and preemptively make military engineers. If I could have 3 military engineers ready to make their way towards Hamburg, that would be ideal. We're burning 9 coal per turn. That's understandable. 8 of that is happening in the capital, which is where we want it to happen because Magnus doesn't have industrialist. Oh, well, we need to get industrialist to lower our coal consumption because we're too hungry for coal at the moment. But even with a flooded campus, we're still at 400 science per turn, which is pretty damn impressive. There's rocketry. We come over to the capital. We place our spaceport adjacent to the entertainment or to the diplomatic quarter. We begin work on that immediately. It'll take 14 turns, but that's okay. The world enters into an atomic era, and luckily we managed to actually secure a golden age, which is a fantastic situation to be in if we make our dedication now. Heartbeat of Steam is incredible. Extra production from our campuses. We could also go for bodyguard of 2 arms if we wanted to go kill Arabia and use that to leverage a victory. I think we would have wanted to rush aircraft if we were going to do that, and I don't think we're kind of in that direction of a game right now. We could theoretically, because aircraft are right here. It's like a valid move is to go aircraft to just kill Arabia and try to win the game that way. 700 science per turn on the Ottomans is absolutely horrifying. Pretty much everyone is at nanotechnology at this point. No, only Rome has researched nanotechnology. Yeah, let's go ahead and pick up Heartbeat of Steam. I think that's our best chance for a passive. We try to SimCity our way to victory. I'm trying to blow up these spaceports. It'd be so good if I could pull it off because they're such a pain to repair. And even though the AI gets production bonuses, it would still be a great boon for me if I could make it happen. We have access to electricity, so seaports and stuff like that are available. Also oil power plants, which might be a good idea to switch an oil power plant or 2. We do get 3 oil per turn as a baseline. Let's focus on science in here. And man, I would love to... I think in this particular city, a seaport is definitely worth it because we're working so many of these coastal tiles anyway, due to the fact that we have Mausoleum. Let's go ahead and continue to promote Magnus. I want to get to Industrialist here. And Surplus Logistics is quite good as well. We connected a city with rail, trying to get my engineers over to Hamburg to be able to fix that ASAP. Once we have computers. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, who knows. Now our goal is to send every trade route that we can to our capital. And to try to get an alliance with somebody that we can trade with easily. So let's talk to Persia. Let's make a friendship. We'll get an alliance. We want a research alliance. I will take an economic alliance. I really want a research alliance. Declare friendship. Can I... Now, it really depends on if I can reach Aztec cities with my trade routes. That's whether or not I get an alliance with him. If I can, I will. If I can't, I won't. And he's kind of far away, so it might not be possible. I can reach just... Well, actually, I can hit quite a few Aztec cities. So if I go for Aztec here, if I get an alliance with him... The question is, see, really what this comes down to is, do I want to go for democracy for the 4 food, 4 production from alliance trade routes, or do I want to go for communism for the internal trade routes? And I think I'm going to go the communism route this game for the 10% science bonus, which tells me that I'm going to start trading from my capital to my own cities as much as possible. Another 2 envoys to plug into Geneva. We're up to 368 science, and then we're back up to 392. Unfortunately, my science is dipping because I'm having to stop running campus research grants as I try to do other things to bring back my empire from the abyss. Having to buy coal is also kind of annoying. It would be fantastic if that was not the case. So unfortunately, we didn't actually get over here fast enough to place the flood barrier and protect the tiles. Annoying and sad and difficult to accept, but a necessary step in the evolution of our empire, I think. So we have rocketry. Let's head for satellites. We want that culture from launching the moon landing. Nobody's launching the Mars colony yet, so we're still in it with a chance to win. Once we're neck and neck with the AI in terms of launching, that's when I consider the game won, because once you're even with the AI, you're a player, you should be able to win. If you're on even footing with the AI, You should never lose. That is the philosophy that I follow. That is the creed that I subscribe to. I think science is just so important at this point in the game that I can't afford to do anything but science. Because every eke of science I can squeeze out of my empire is just massive here. We have access to Carl Sagan. We will, of course, nab him. We also have, now Stephanie Kwolek going to Arabia. I kind of wish I had taken that myself. If I had known, I would have. But we do have a double charge Carl Sagan. This would have been honestly better. It's kind of annoying that, like, Carl Sagan cost us like thousands and thousands of Great People points, but then Carl Sagan gets instantaneously discounted because it's, you know, look, it is what it is. It is what it is. That, like, the one when my Great Scientist was super expensive, but the next one is cheaper. Like, that's just, you know, look, it is what it is. It's part of the game. It's how the game works. It's annoying. You know, we could totally yoink Samarkand if we get suzerainty of them. Okay, we are blowing up Ottoman spaceports, which is kind of what we want to be doing. So the death of the flood barrier in Hamburg does mean we have to build a new one. Or another flood barrier, sorry, the death of the campus does mean we have to build a new one, which we will be doing. Now the trick with Carl Sagan when you pick him up is to save him for the exoplanet expedition mission. Don't use him on anything else. Right, we'll finish this flood barrier next turn. We're continuing to make military engineers. Try and get these flood barriers finished so we don't have to deal with flooding in our empire. So we have an aid request for Trajan, which is quite useful because it means the AI is going to waste a bunch of their resources on somebody who's not close to winning the game. Saladin is quite close to a tourism victory, but we might have time. It's coming down to the wire here. I'll be real with you guys. I don't know if I can win this file, but I am definitely having an interesting time in the attempt. Now we've got our spaceport finished. Let's go ahead and launch the Earth satellite. It only takes us 5 turns to launch that, so we should be ready for the moon landing by the time we finish that. We've scorched Earth. Let's head towards mass media, ideology, and then communism. We would like to yoink suzerainty of Geneva, so I'm going to put 3 envoys in there. Boom. Now we're up to 534 science per turn. Very, very important that we maintain suzerainty of Geneva at this point in the game. It's a huge multiplier. So I think we are now fully defended from a sea rise standpoint, except for I need to protect the mausoleum in here. I don't know why the graphics aren't showing up. I don't like that a rise and fall compatibility issue. Don't really understand that one. There goes the Earth satellite, and now we have revealed any potential hidden city-states. No, we found them all. Nan Madol would be amazing to have suzerainty of, by the way, because we're in a very heavily coastal game. Tile improvement wise, we could be doing better on tile improvements, but I've been so focused on just like not losing the game by pumping science as hard as possible that this is where we stand. But look, we are now in the race for the science victory. Like, we're in the space race. We can get to work on the moon landing. We could instantaneously complete it if we wanted to use Carl Sagan on it. But remember, this project is only 1,500, so it's not worth it to spend Carl on it. All great scientists have gone. We could actually faith purchase Sergei Korolev and use him on this, which I think I will. I'm going to use Sergei Korolev on this to get the moon landing, because by hitting the moon landing, our science boost will boost us up towards class struggle a lot sooner. Yeah, damn. Man, if I had Nan Madol this game, God, my life would be so much easier. I'll put 1 envoy into them for now. I'll start working on that one. Now, our gold income is tanking because I have been buying tons and tons of coal to try and stabilize our economy. I'm going to sell off some resources here to try to recuperate some of that issue. And I think it should work okay, because there are people out there who want my oil, and I have tons of oil. I'm not using it for anything. So that should, yeah, there we go. We just sold off a bunch of stuff, stabilized our economy. We're all good. We can keep buying coal to fuel our economy. I mean, if we look at CO2 levels, look at the amount of emissions we've absolutely cranked out in the last few turns from getting coal, from buying coal. So I want to finish this. That's done. I think all of our flood barriers are now done. And we will pop Sergei Korolev here. Boom. To instantaneously finish the moon landing. grab ourselves 5,000 instantaneous culture with which we can boost our way through this end of the tech tree and hopefully get the class struggle for that 10% inherent science gain. And continue to pump campus research grants. Because right now, the bottleneck for us is how fast can we get to nanotechnology. Let's grab industrialists for the better power management. Right now we're converting 6 coal into 23 power. Hopefully that'll be higher next turn. Let's go ahead and research iOS. Grab this from Hermetic Order. It might actually be a better project to run than campus research grants. Let me just do a little bit of research on that one. Delete previous statement. So I'm pretty sure this would give me, in my capital city, because there's one ley line, this would give me 1 science for every 2 production that I input into it, because you get 500 science per ley line that's in the city when you do this project, which is roughly okay. I think it's, if you look at this, it's 15% is normally converted. So this would be a 50% conversion ratio for this. Which means I think doing occult research is just strictly better. So we're going to start doing occult research, even if it is slightly slower in its payoff, and like because it takes 3 times as long to do. I think that's fine. And then we'll probably do the same in Mogadishu. It has actually 2 spots for occult research, but it also doesn't have factory and coal power. So we're going to have to get to work on those before we start doing it. But yeah, pretty much everywhere we have a single ley line, it's worth it to do this because the conversion ratio is just better. So we managed to blow up the spaceport, and look, it actually has a rocket in it. I want to make this very, very clear. This spaceport has no rocket graphic in it. This spaceport does have a rocket graphic in it, which means this is the spaceport that he was going to attempt to launch the Mars colony in, and therefore we have blocked him from doing that. So we have bought ourselves however long it takes him to repair that. I want to slow down production towards the Mars colony if I can, to give myself time to catch up. So moon landing was boosted. Not ideal for me because I basically one-turned that. We did just pick up ideology, and we're 1 turn from getting class struggle, which will trigger a massive change in our government and economy. Really looking forward to that one. I'll be able to show off some pretty cool late game doodads. Nice, we have access to steel. We no longer need to build walls. It's time for communism. And the reason we switched to communism is because it has 3 economic policy cards and a wild card. And it also gives you a 10% science boost across the board alongside a little bit of production. The production is less important compared to the 10% science boost. Because remember, every ounce of science we squeeze out of our empire here is a couple of turns shaved off of our victory condition. We do want to keep Republican legacy plugged in. Now, the one downside is we don't get to plug in Merchant Confederation and stuff like that anymore. But gunboat diplomacy for the +4 influence is super, super important for us still. 5-year plan, also really, really good. Rationalism doesn't do a huge amount for me this game. 2 science and military research, it's not much, but I will take it. And logistics is nice for moving people around. I will take collectivization for the 12 food and 6 production from that. In particular, that is happening in my capital, that 12 food and 6 production. Now that we have our tier 3 government, we can get to work on the Royal Society. This will allow us to expend builders to speed up our space race projects. And I would also like to get a neighborhood in this city ASAP so I can continue to grow it because it's going to have a huge food surplus. It's going to be a massive, massive city. Let's spend 1 turn picking up capitalism. Capitalism and communism, I know. And then we want to make our way towards globalization over here for that 5% per city-state that you are suzerain of. So we'll have to head through Cold War straight to globalization. So now the trade routes from my capital to other cities, 6 food, 6 production, really, really great. Really, 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 really powerful. And that's how we want to do it now. Now in the late game, we want to kind of, in the early game, you want to send trade routes to your capital. And in the late game, you want to send trade routes from your capital in a science game because you're trying to maximize how powerful that city is in particular. We're 5 techs away from nanotechnology. 5 techs. We have a huge 15 pop city, all going swimmingly. We got our market in here. There's no reason to do occult research in this city. Instead, we will do campus research grants. We were continuing to focus on science. So now we're trading from our capital to every other city in our empire. We're getting 41 food from those trade routes, as well as 39 production. So that's a huge boost, 186 production in my capital. This is like the perfect science city. Let's put Amani into Geneva, because that's 2 envoys to help us keep control of Geneva. I would love to get control of Nan Madol. I'm going to just tentatively always hold on to 1 envoy, so in case someone pops an envoy into Geneva, I can neutralize it. We blew up another spaceport. We're very, very effectively disrupting the Ottoman space race right now. The Ottoman is the only real threat. I mean, Rome kind of... Rome theoretically could pull the game away. I think we might have this. It really depends. There's another aid request. The World Games. We didn't do anything for the World Games. Do we care? Not really. The only thing that matters is if there's a diplomatic victory. No, there's no diplo victory on the card, so we don't care that much. Suleiman is officially launching his Mars colony again. No, it's still disrupted. We managed to disrupt that. Okay, perfect. So the space race is heating up now. Rome has started his Mars colony. He's officially on the Mars colony, but I think we can beat him to the Mars colony. And if we can beat him to the Mars colony, I think that's a victory declared, because if we can beat him to the Mars colony, we can absolutely beat him to the exoplanet expedition, because we have the ace in the hole, Carl Sagan, who will instantaneously complete it for us. That's a 3,000 production lead we have on that. Geneva we still hold. Can I yoink Nan Madol this turn? Boom. That's an extra 50 culture per turn. Might not seem like much, but it does mean that we pick up a few of these techs a little bit sooner. Oh my god, Suleiman basically 2-turned the Mars colony, and he has smart materials. I think, though, as long as we keep disrupting his rocketry, I think we have this in the bag. I think we're fine. I don't think we can lose now. It's hard to tell, to be honest, because it's kind of a spooky moment for us. Let's do an oil switch. Not in this city. We will do the oil switch in Mainz. Purchase, Alchemical Society, purchase, research lab, focus science, come on down, get to work on the campus research grants. So I have Mogadishu just pumping out builders to be fed into the capital, just for space race projects. Otherwise, I'm just running around with spare builder charges, dropping down solar power to be able to actually fuel my economy. Also, speaking of power, I should totally be buying coal. Boom, Mars colony unlocked instantaneously. We come over to the capital, we lock in the Mars colony, we drop down Sergei Korolev. Boom, Mars colony finished in one single turn. We start positioning builders on this. Well, not yet, actually. That comes later. And now we're neck and neck with the AI. I think, as far as I'm concerned, this game is won. There's no way I lose this game from this position. I think we've won, basically. And it would take me another hour to play this out and finish it off completely. But I really hope that this shows you can get yourself all twisted into a position thinking you're really, really far behind, when really you forgot to go looking for your city-states, your scientific city-states to catch back up. Because that's where the vast majority of my science is coming from in these cities now. Is if you look at this, right, I have 3 scientific city-states. The city is making 85 science per turn. And half of that is coming from buildings. Okay, that's even before we think about those 25% modifiers. Anyway, that's another disaster file saved. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys, if you want to send me in more disaster save files, it's PotatoMcWhiskey+CivDisasters@gmail.com. And don't forget to include the words Big Chungus somewhere in the email, because that's how I filter them out. Please don't use too many mods. Ideally, save files between turn 100 and turn 200. Later than that, and it gets difficult to save your files, other than doing a critique. Earlier than that, it's a little bit harder to really think of things to say. But overall, not a bad save file. I'd say core things to remember here: settled late, didn't explore, didn't use the city states, and kind of just didn't know how to scale his empire. But otherwise, a really good player. Definitely understands the game. All right, I love you all very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.